Hello guys, and welcome back to a brand new video from me, Pickles Park Reviews. Now today, I've got more Revolution of the Daleks news. Two pieces of news in fact. One about the plot, and the other about two characters who have now been confirmed to be leaving the show in the special. Now, this video is kind of a follow-up to my trailer reaction that went out a couple of days ago. Now, obviously, the Revolution of the Daleks trailer came out, and I reacted to it, and I released, obviously, my trailer reaction video. However, I got some plot details wrong, and that's mainly because I haven't been keeping my ear to the ground in terms of news. I just kind of took what I got from the trailer. I'm watching my good friend Farry's video. He describe some plot details, and I want to talk about them because they actually sound really cool. Much better than, and much more interesting than what I thought was going on from what I examined in the trailer. So essentially, in the trailer, you see the Prime Minister introducing these defense drones, the Daleks as these defense drones, and I presume that the Daleks would approach them and essentially say, yeah, we'll be your defense drones, and they'll be like, yeah, the Daleks are good. And essentially be manipulating these humans into thinking they're good and releasing them and thinking they're on their side, only to manipulate them to give them an advantage in terms of an invasion and then reveal their plans. As typical. And a lot of people were saying that this felt reused from Power of the Daleks, which is obviously the original story this was done. Victory of the Daleks, which kind of copied Power of the Daleks in a way, although it is like a loving pastiche of Power, but you know, it's still repeating plot beats. And a lot of people say it was repeating Blood of the Daleks. Now, I'll be honest, I really cannot remember what happens in Blood of the Daleks. I've listened to it, but I listened to it years ago. Honestly, I cannot remember what happens in that story. But if people are saying that it has similar plot beats then sure, go for it. And while I thought that it certainly had aspects that felt unique, the fact that it's using the government and the Prime Minister, releasing it in the present day, I thought that was quite cool. A lot of people just criticised it and said this is unoriginal. And it did have parts about it that were unoriginal, I won't deny. However, maybe it was just me getting swept up in the brilliance of the trailer that I just kind of ignored its unoriginality. In fact, I almost praised it in a way. Well, not praised its unoriginality, I never would praise unoriginality. However, I did like how it was lifting certain parts from certain Doctor Who stories and putting them in this story, mainly from Big Finish. I never like repeating things from televised stories into other televised stories. But it was nice that they were taking elements from Big Finish. Obviously, the one I referenced was We Are the Daleks, because the whole thing of it manipulating Prime Ministers and MPs was obviously done in We Are the Daleks. It was a key part of that story. And then obviously other people obviously compared it to Blood of the Daleks, another Big Finish story. And I kind of liked that. However, it's now come to my attention after watching Farry's video that I got these ideas wrong. And as I said, it was me just examining the trailer and presuming what was going to happen. And a lot of people, like myself, have presumed this is what's going to happen. However, Farry said differently, and Farry's does a lot of news videos, so I trust him. He's got his ear to the ground. He knows what he's talking about in terms of Doctor Who news. And therefore, I feel as if he has heard this somewhere else before, and he's pretty spot on his examination of what he got from the trailer. And essentially, I was partially right. Obviously, you'd have to be an idiot to not notice that they're using these Daleks as defense drones. However, it seems like it's not these Daleks coming and offering their help, as we know in Power and Victory. No. In fact, what's happened supposedly is that after Resolution, the government saw this and thought, we can manufacture this and create defense drones, seeing the Daleks. So essentially they took the mold of the Dalek we saw in Resolution and tried to manufacture them, which is why it's in different colours. It now has different lights. It looks almost kind of plasticky and manufactured. That's because it is. And that's why it's got the changing light feature, and they've tried to recreate this and market it and package it and sell it on to the British public. and they've essentially created their own Daleks, and that's a really cool idea. The fact that not only are we having the Daleks aid them, but the Daleks aiding them are Daleks they've actually created. That's really cool, and then they're selling them on to the British public. That's a really nice idea, and that's the kind of Doctor Who ideas that I just think are just brilliant. And it is something we haven't seen before. What I thought we got from the trailer was slightly unoriginal. We kind of had seen it before. There are parts we hadn't seen before, but most of it we kind of seen before. But with this is so unique, we just haven't seen this before, and that's great. The idea that they saw these Dalek in resolution and thought we can manufacture that, change the colours to make it seem, you know, marketable. That's why these Dalek sculpts are the same ones as Resolution's Dalek sculpt, even though that was a makeshift one that the Dalek built out of scrap, because that's the only Dalek they've seen. And now they're manufacturing it. As I said, that's where it looks almost plasticky, that's where it's got the changeable lights. And presumably then we've got the Time War models, because we have seen set photos with the Time War Daleks, and you see a saucer there coming down. Presumably those Daleks will see these Daleks that the humans have created and see them as impure, and then that'll bring about these Civil War rumours that we've been hearing about, that they're going to do similar to Remembrance, a new Dalek Civil War. We've been hearing whispers of that, and presumably that's what's going to happen in this, and then you're going to get the Time War Daleks come in and say, no, these are impure, these aren't proper Daleks, as you get in Remembrance, Revelation. Actually, that's what's going to happen, and this is really cool. Honestly, I was excited for it before because the trailer was really just edited really well, and I was excited by a number of the plot beats. However, getting this new information about the story, and it's not just pastiche of power. In fact, it's something completely new with the government manufacturing their own Daleks. That's really cool. It does raise the question I heard a couple of people say of, humans know about Daleks, so why would they fall for this? Yeah, that's true, but at the end of the day, the crack reset things, all that hickory-pokery stuff, and even if you don't buy the crack because it rewrite everything, at the end of the day, the crack's supposed to have rewritten invasions, yet in Death in Heaven, Kate Stewart throws a Cyberman head from the invasion. So clearly it didn't, but that's Moffat continuity for you. But even if you don't buy the crack, at the end of the day, Doctor Who rewrites its continuity anyway. At the beginning of the Revive series, RTD presented the present day as if it hadn't witnessed any of the invasions we got in the classic series. So at the end of the day, Doctor Who does this internally all the time, so personally I'm not too bothered about it. I can understand why it would upset people. It doesn't make much sense, but Doctor Who does this all the time, so it doesn't bother me all too much. Generally, I'm just really excited for this special, and I think this new news about the plot, the fact that the government are making their own Daleks, is really, really cool. I'm a big fan of that idea. It's unique, it's something we haven't seen before. Big fan of trying something new with the Daleks. It didn't really work in Resolution, although there wasn't really much new they were doing with the Daleks there. It was just a worse version of Dalek. But yeah, I'm glad that Chibnall's trying to do something new. And yeah, I'm really excited for this special. I shouldn't be too optimistic because I've been hurt before when it comes to Chibnall. From the news we've been getting, the trailer, and now this news about the plot, I'm really excited to see where this is going, because I think we could have a really good Dalek story on our hands. On to the second piece of news, and it is that Tosin and Bradley Walsh, who play Ryan and Graham, have now been confirmed to be leaving. Now, this was rumoured for ages. We've known this essentially for quite a while. It's a bit like the Captain Jack coming back. That news bit that the BBC announced in inverted commas, we knew about that months before it got announced. It was announced just recently, and it's the same with this. We knew that they were going to be leaving for quite a while. I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this subject on a number of different podcasts with people like Mr. TARDIS. I know I spoke about this with him because he uploaded the clip on his channel about us talking about the companions. I'm pretty sure that's where it all stemmed from. So I know I've spoken about this before, however I just thought I'd speak about this again, considering it's been confirmed, and that was heavily rumoured. We didn't know quite the extent of how it was going to go. We didn't know if both of them were leaving, we didn't know if it was just Ryan leaving, but now it has been officially confirmed that both Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole will be leaving in Revolution of the Daleks, and It's a weird one, isn't it? I think it's quite weird seeing as these characters don't feel as if they've been around that long. Now, I've spoken about it before, but we knew Martha better in one series than we know any of these characters in two. and that's because the development just isn't there. I've spoken about this before, but the character writing for the Chibnall era is just so paper thin, and that's the thing, is that I don't feel as if I have an emotional connection to Ryan. I'm not really gonna miss him, to be honest. He didn't really add much, and that's a shame. When you've been with a companion for 2 seasons, you'd expect to feel somewhat of a connection, and I just don't. And I think as we're comparing him to other characters that have had 2 seasons, you look at Amy and Rory, at the end of Series 6, you feel like you've been for them for quite a while, you really know these characters. After the end of Series 5 even, a few episodes into Series 5, whatever. But with here, you still don't feel like you know the characters. These characters still don't feel done yet. And I'm fortunate that we're sticking with Yaz, because it seems that we are going to give her some development. Chibnall is actually going to offer her some character development. However, Ryan and Graham just aren't going to get that, and that's a shame. I am going to miss Graham, mainly because Bradley Walsh has just been so good in this role. His character is pretty much as paper thin as all the others, but I think that ultimately Bradley Walsh just gives such great performances. Graham is essentially him, and that's allowed Bradley Walsh to give some brilliant performances, and he's just such great comic relief, but such a good character as well. Everyone loves Graham. Bradley Walsh is just so good, and despite his paper thin character, I am going to miss him. I am going to miss Bradley Walsh, because he was a joy on our screens, and it's probably one of my favourite parts of the Chibnall era, if not my favourite part up until this point. And I am going to be sad to see Graham go, as I mentioned. Ryan, not so much. There wasn't really much to his character, as I said, and unfortunately, and it pains me to say, I'm not really going to miss him. And it does feel like these characters' journeys aren't quite complete there. It does feel like there's development that just hasn't happened, and that we could get more development. But then again, they've been here for 2 series. What's the usual limit for a Doctor? 3 series? You know, there's rumours that Jodie might break that, you know, who knows? But you're looking at these companions being around for about the right time. This is about the right time. I always think companions should stay no longer than 2 series in the modern run. They've reached their peak. They've reached their limit, and they should be cooked, they should be done, but they're just because of the characterization and the character writing has been so poor from Chibnall. I still feel like these characters should stay longer, even though I also don't think they should, because they've reached the natural course, if you get what I mean. If any other character, I'd say that 2 series is good, but because we barely know anything about these 2 characters, it just feels like a massive missed opportunity, and that's why I feel that this will be looked back on, especially in terms of Bradley Walsh. I feel like this would be a massive missed opportunity, because you've got some characters here, and the fact that they just weren't characterized, I think is just such a shame. And admittedly, we've known this for ages, as I've said, I've spoke about it in a number of videos, but I do think it's a shame that these characters are leaving, especially in terms of Ryan. I just don't really feel anything, and that's why I think it would be much more effective if they kill Graham off and have Ryan walk off, other than what I think they will do, which is do the reverse. And the reason I say this is just because I'd feel something if Graham died. I don't really feel like I'd feel something if Ryan died. If anything, I'd feel more for Graham's reaction to Ryan's death more than Ryan's death himself. And that's just down to how poorly Ryan's been characterised. A lot of people like to say Tosin isn't very good. I mean, he's not the best actor. He's not helped by his accent, which is he can't do a Sheffield accent, so why they make him do it is beyond me. He just makes all his dialogue sound wooden, but you know, even above that, he's not the best actor, but I do think it's the characterization which is really hindering these companions, and has hindered these companions, and unfortunately we're not going to get any time to fix these characters like we're going to get with Yaz, because they're out the door. And as I said, it's a shame. I feel like this would just be looked on as a massive missed opportunity, because these characters could have been great, but the character writing just wasn't there, the focus just wasn't there. And a lot of people say that maybe these 2 characters should have left at the end of series 11 because their arcs were done, but I would disagree personally. I think that even though their arc was done, I think it is still nice that we would get a series with them having completed their arc. You mean, you looking at series 5, you could say the same argument for Amy. She's completed her arc of choosing adulthood over childhood, and that she's got married. That should be the end of her arc. But no, you want Amy and Rory round for another series to just see how they would be like as a married couple. And I think it's the same for that. You'd want to see how Graham and Brian would be as, you know, granddad and grandson, supposedly, because we don't really get that in series 11. The problem is that's essentially chucked out of the window in series 12. You forget that they are actually supposed to be granddad and grandson, and that whole arc of series 11 is essentially disregarded, which is a shame. And as I said, it's a shame that these two characters are leaving. It's going to be looked back as a massive missed opportunity. But then I guess in, you know, another instance, it's also benefiting the show, because now we've just got to the Doctor and Yaz, and we can really focus on a good Doctor-companion relationship, which I didn't really get with any of the TARDIS trio. The relationship really wasn't there. Like, yeah, the Doctor and Yaz's relationship was improved upon in series 12, but in series 11, there's nothing between the two. Ryan and the 13th Doctor have no chemistry, no relationship whatsoever. If anything, the best relationship was with Graham, and that's just because their interplay was quite fun. But no, now Chibnall can actually focus on writing one Doctor-companion relationship, and you can already see the seeds of that planted in series 12, and I'd like to see where it goes. Yaz isn't the most interesting character, however she is getting more characterization, which is a plus. She's already got a decent chemistry with 13, better than Ryan anyway. And, you know, it's nice to see where it goes now. They're putting more focus on their relationship. When I say focus on the relationship, though, I don't mean that I want them to get together. I've seen rumours about this. Mandip Gill was speaking about Yaz and the Doctor in an interview recently, and reading between the lines, it could hint at a romantic relationship. I really hope it doesn't, though, and it's not a gender thing, honestly. It's just that I really don't like the Doctor and companion having relationship, full stop. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know how much I hate it with Rose in series 2, so ultimately I just don't want that again. I don't think it's right for the character of the Doctor. It's not interesting, and it makes the Doctor seem really creepy, so I really hope we don't get that. There's also rumours of Captain Jack becoming a full-time companion alongside the Doctor and Yaz. I ultimately also hope this doesn't happen, mainly because I'm a big fan of Jack, but I think he works in short bursts. He works as a recurring character. Although if he was there every single week, I think it would be Jack overkill, and I think he would get a bit irritating. Jack works when you see him every so often, but Jack is such an exaggerated and camp character that I don't think he'd work as a primary companion every single week. I think he'd get a bit irritating, and it would be Jack overkill. The reason he works in Torchwood week after week is because this is a much more darker and mysterious version of Jack. This isn't the Jack we get on Doctor Who. This is a much more rounded character in Torchwood, but you can't have that version of Jack on Doctor Who. And judging by Fugitive and the bits we saw of Captain Jack in the Revolution of the Daleks trailer, that's not the Jack that Chris Chibnall's bringing into this version of Doctor Who either. So I wouldn't like him to become a full-time companion, because I just think it would be overkill. If you were to add another companion alongside the Doctor and Yaz, I'd really hope for a historical companion. That's what I'd really be hoping for, because there's so many interesting things you could do with that. I'm a big fan of his historical companions. Jamie is just excellent. And yeah, I really hope they go down that route. If we get another companion from present day Earth, then I swear to God, I may break something. Ultimately, it's sad to see these companions go. You know, I've loved Graham, Ryan not so much, but it's sad to see them go, especially as I feel like they've been a bit of a missed opportunity. But hey ho, their departure's confirmed now. Let's just see how they go out in Revolution of the Daleks, and hopefully their exit will lead to a much more refined Doctor-companion relationship in Series 13. Yes, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, drop a sub, and hit that notification bell to stay notified for all my latest videos. And what did you think of this news? What do you think of the plot of Revolution of the Daleks? Obviously, I made a bit of a cock-up in my trailer reaction, but I've rectified that and spoke about the actual plot, that they're manufacturing Daleks. What do you think of that idea? Do you like it? Do you not? Whatever, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Similarly, what do you think of Tosin Cole and Bradley Walsh's departures from Doctor Who? Are you sad that these characters are leaving? Do you just feel nothing at all? Are you looking forward to the future of the Doctor and Yaz going around solo? What do you think of Captain Jack potentially going aboard the TARDIS? All these things, discuss it in the comments if you want to. I'd really appreciate it and would look forward to reading all your thoughts down in that comment section downstairs. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this Doctor Who news update. And of course, a goodbye.